Hi, everybody. It's Steve Halley here with the Family Peace Initiative. Welcome to the February Facilitators Tool Chest blog for strategies for working with those who are in our domestic violence programs, but also applicable to people who work in a variety of fields, either as alcohol and drug or education. Today, I want to talk with you about the primary colors of emotion. And I want to start with telling you a little bit about John Gottman. If you haven't read his book, Raising an Emotionally Healthy Child, I would argue that resource is super valuable when you're working with anyone who has limited emotional expression, really a lack of awareness about their emotional self. John Gottman, he writes in his book about how to teach children to become emotionally aware. It's really something that they have to be taught. It's not something that they naturally will develop. And so he talked about practicing with the kids, talking about, and what we did with Max when he was young, is we turned to conversations about mad, sad, glad, and afraid. Hey, Max, what was one thing you were mad about today? One thing I was mad about today was, hey, Max, what was one thing you were sad about today? Hey, Max, one thing I was sad about today was, and we just shared back and forth, normalizing mad, sad, glad, and afraid, because it is normal. Human beings are wired to feel emotions. We are supposed to. They serve a purpose in our life, and although sometimes it's not clear what that purpose might be, it seems that way. But as kids start learning mad, sad, glad, and afraid, conversations become different. And I remember when Max walked into our bedroom, I was, reading the book on the bed, and Max was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and he comes in and he's kind of bumping his throat, and he was kind of, just not himself. And I looked up from my book, and I was like, Max, what are you doing? And he goes, I was watching a movie, and the dog died, and I got a lump in my throat, and I think I'm sad. And I got so excited. Oh, Mac, come here, give me a big hug. I'm so proud of you. The reason I got so excited is that after reading John Gottman's book, we started working with Max every day on Mad, Sad, Glad, and Afraid. Every day, make a sad face, make a happy face, make a scared face. Hey, Max, what were you afraid of? What were you sad about? Just normalizing, conversing. And at 4 or 5, after we've been doing this for probably 3 or 4 years, first time he independently identified feeling sad without having to talk with mom and dad to kind of sort out what was going on with his body. Well, I have to acknowledge that most people are not raised that way. And more frequently, in the river of cruelty, people are taught to not be sad, to not show fear or weakness, not be vulnerable. And one way to avoid vulnerability is keep our feelings close to the vest. Well, John Gottman was brilliant, is brilliant. And one of the things that we discovered is that it's not only 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 year olds that can learn slowly over time about mad, sad, glad, and afraid, but 40 and 50-year-old men can also learn the primary colors of emotions. Turns out that male socialization teaches us to not be vulnerable, not be weak, and the easiest way to do that is act like we're not sad, to hide our fear, to show that we're tough and fearless and, whatever. And that causes great problems for us down the road. So part of the Family Peace Initiative approach is to have lots of conversations about mad, sad, glad, and afraid with participants who are, in many cases, afraid to say the words. They're that afraid of acknowledging fear and sadness. So we have lots of conversations with, just notice mad, sad, glad, and afraid. When people come in and they're angry, we are not afraid of that. We start getting excited about that, because when someone comes in angry, it's an opportunity to help them learn how to talk about being sad and afraid. And if you recognize that, it doesn't take much to be able to help someone move from a conversation about anger to a conversation about fear and sadness. In the river of cruelty, people learn fear and sadness is vulnerability and is not to be shown. You're not a man if you cry, and you're certainly weak and vulnerable if they know you're afraid. So we have to be able to teach people that those feelings are a normal part of their humanity, and not feeling them, not recognizing them, not being aware of them when you're having them is weird. It's an evidence of the river of cruelty in action. Because people who grow up in safe, welcoming, accepting environments are much better at talking about mad, sad, glad, and afraid than people who grow up in the river of cruelty. And so people are in your Batterer intervention program, they're acting out behavior in school, they're being cruel to somebody else. When we start understanding that cruelty that we do is evidence of unresolved cruelty that we have experienced, the way we start processing that in a Batterer intervention program or in a classroom or wherever would just be helping people get connected and aware of what they're feeling. Just start with mad, sad, glad, and afraid. And listen to your participants when they're angry, when they're pissed off at their partner or their court service officer or whoever it might be. Let them talk about being angry. Anger is external focused. I'm mad at them. They're doing this to me. They are, being jerks and, whatever it would be. But as you listen, you can hear the conversation begin to shift from anger to afraid. And that's where you want to be. You want to be talking internal focused conversations and less external focused conversations as much as possible. And so understanding the use of mad, sad, glad, and afraid, the primary colors of emotion, it can be a powerful tool. And it's so simple once we become aware of how it works and how people are responding to their emotional selves. Thank you guys very much for tuning in today, and I look forward to making another one of these in March. Winter will be over and golf season will be full force. So looking forward to that. Have a good day. Bye-bye.